In 2022 and 2023, when I started my business, I paid for $14,000 in courses. The Ghostwriting Intensive with Dickie Bush and Nicholas Cole, $4,800. Consulting with Kieran Drew, $4,000. 0 to 10K by Rob Lennon, plus consulting, $3,200. Audience Building by Sahil Bloom, $850. Power Writing with Sean Puri, $850. Life of Leverage by Eric Jorgensen, $300. And Doing Time Right with Steph Smith, $100. And the truth is, these courses aren't the reason I built an awesome business, but they certainly helped me get there. Got some good news for you. You can get all of these for free. Consume the 80/20 summaries in 7 emails, about 5 minutes per day for 7 days. There's also a video option if you prefer. So I will share the link to this in the description. And you can go ahead and get this for free if you'd like. What you'll get is 1, tactical insights on how to build your tribe online, your audience online. 2, tips on how to get more responses from cold outreach. And 3, insights into creating more digital leverage for your life and your business. So if you want that, go ahead, click that link in the description. And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some of the nuggets, a sneak peek, if you will, into this course, this free email course. So this is, as you can see, the video format. So I go over each of the emails in a lot of detail. I'm just going to give you the high level insight. So you can see here, this is in Kit, which is my email service provider. Over here on the right side, I have the 7 different days. So day 0 is just like an intro telling you what you're going to get. And then every day you get a new one. And so I'll give you a couple of insights, sneak peeks into this email course. So first, Audience Building 2.0 with Sahil Bloom. So Sahil Bloom is someone, you've probably seen him before. He has become quite famous in the last year because he had so this is Sahil Bloom. He had a book come out called The 5 Types of Wealth, which is a New York Times bestseller. You can see he's got 900,000 followers on Instagram. He's got 1 million followers on Twitter. Has a big LinkedIn account, 650,000. 36,000 YouTube subscribers right now. So very legitimate from an audience building perspective, which is what this was about, but also a great business. He's got a great business mind. He started in private equity. Anyway, he sold this as a cohort. I think there were maybe 6 sessions or something, a bunch of Q&A, and I'll just share with you a couple of things that have been really helpful for me. So you can see here, I will zoom in for you. Zoom, zoom, zoom. All right. So you see this right here. This is basically what I use to this day for content creation. So you can see here I've got a bunch of no status like ideas. I've got a bunch of stuff that's in progress. I've got completed stuff. I've got posted stuff, and I've got won't post stuff. And so this has been extremely useful for keeping track of ideas. And as I spend time writing every day or every week, I'm able to update this. And now there's over 365 like posts that are in here. And a lot of these are like pretty long form, and I can use this as my library to repurpose forever. So that's been really valuable. Highly recommend. 2 reasons. This is Julian Shapiro. He's a brilliant creator as well. He came on and shared, he's like, there's 2 reasons people follow your journey. 1, you curate information for them. So if I want to be known in the marketing world, I could just go and curate all of the stuff that Seth Godin, Alex Hormozy, Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, all of those guys, what they write about, and I can just curate it and find the best stuff and make it easy and easy for and frictionless for people to read and understand things. The second is you share novel ideas. So they come for your brain, not for someone else's ideas. I think they can follow for both reasons, but novel ideas aren't easy to come by. You have to be an original thinker, but also if you are a novel thinker, then you will get a lot more followers and you will be differentiated online, which is amazing. This is an example of a novel idea. People don't have short attention spans. They binge 14-hour Netflix seasons. They listen to 3-hour Joe Rogan episodes. They have short consideration spans. They must be hooked quickly. Point, don't fear making in-depth content, but ensure your beginning is incredible. So this idea of a consideration span is a novel idea. So that is just a useful framework. I have some tactical strategies on Twitter here, and a lot of it applies to other platforms too. Next, power writing with Sean Puri. So Sean Puri, if we just look him up, you may know who he is already, but he has a podcast called My First Million. He's done pretty well with business. He's got decent size following. The biggest thing is the podcast for sure. He's also got 450,000 Twitter followers. But I'm pretty sure the My First Million podcast has something like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. And he's sold he sold a couple of businesses, and he's done well. So he had a course called Power Writing that I took, and this was the format. So he's lesson 1 was cold emails, lesson 2 was power writing habits and how to pitch your brand, elevator pitch fast. Lesson 3 was the secret to going viral. Lesson 4 was how to write amazing headlines. Lesson 5 was writing landing pages that convert, and lesson 6 was writing like Jeff Bezos. So that's high level what it was. I'll share a few insights. So one was the do, learn, redo method. The way that he framed the entire course was he would be all right, today we're doing cold emails. So I'm going to have you pick a prospect and write a cold email. Go. Give us 5 or 10 minutes. And then he would give us a framework. So he's all right, you've got your first draft. That's awesome. Now here's how I want you to think about actually structuring cold emails. And he gives some examples. He shares his framework for it. And then he says, okay, last 10 minutes, go rewrite that cold email. And we'd go and rewrite it, and it's 5 times better. And he did that throughout the course. And even though that wasn't part of the curriculum, I found that to be one of the most useful bits of information. It's that's how you really learn it's same conditions, new behavior. It's you're just writing a cold email again, but you're writing it differently. The one thing that I'll share, one additional thing from this is I love this. This is stuck with me. So this is ingrained in my soul. So if you make the ask as easy as possible, you set yourself up for a win. So instead of asking for a 30-minute call, a detailed analysis, or plan to fix X, Y, and Z, make the ask so simple that they can respond with 1 word, 3 words, or 1 sentence max. If that sounds interesting, say yes, and I'll send it your way. You do all of the homework for them, and all they have to do is say yes, and then you can send them something else, and they've expressed interest. They can engage without friction. That is just extremely useful. All right, next, day 3. So this is 0 to 10K with Rob Lennon. Rob Lennon blew up on Twitter a while ago. He continues to sell stuff, but he's kind of pivoted to be more in the AI space and less in the audience building space. But he had some really good stuff in this. One was this endless inspiration board. So he basically just showed you how you can come up with infinite ideas. People have different frameworks for this. This is one I liked it. So you choose 3 pillars of content you want to talk about. So at my time, copywriting, Twitter writing, ghostwriting. Choose 1 pillar. So, okay, I'll go deeper with ghostwriting, let's say. Create at least 10 subtopics. So I could do Twitter ghostwriting, I could do LinkedIn ghostwriting, I could do co-writing, I could do editing work for clients, whatever it may be. Then you go deeper. So you choose one of those. So let's say LinkedIn ghostwriting. And then you brainstorm fears, frustrations, goals, and aspirations from that. So a fear, well, this is a potential client, will they know that I have a ghostwriter? A frustration, I don't know how to grow my account or get leads. A goal would be, I want to get 10,000 followers by the end of the year. An aspiration would be, I want to be invited to speak at public events and be a thought leader in my space. Then you choose one of those, and you could choose a format. And so different formats, you could do solution to tough problem, prove status quo wrong, turn an overwhelming topic into something approachable, etc. So you can see how we're just narrowing in, and within each layer, you have a bunch of different things you could do. So you could literally do the same thing, and you could create 5 different posts with different formats. You could just switch from fears to frustrations and do the same. You could go back up and choose a different subtopic. This is just infinite ideas. And guess what? AI is pretty good at helping brainstorm stuff too. So pretty interesting. Other things I'll share here, I found this to be pretty true still. So 0 to 10K activity transition. So when you're at 0, you send the DMs. You comment on others' posts. You recruit new followers. When you're at 10K, DMs come to you. Replies to comments on your post just happen. and you still engage existing followers, but they're engaging with you. So that is a beautiful thing. And all right, next, Life of Leverage by Eric Jorgensen. If you've ever read the Navalmanac, the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, Eric Jorgensen is the author of that book, and he went deeper and created this $300 course called Life of Leverage. It's an exceptional course. Especially if you're interested in that like concept of leverage. How do I get more from the inputs that I'm doing? How can I get more outputs from the inputs? And this was awesome. I love this course. So if you're like, I'm not even an affiliate, but if you're interested in this stuff, I would highly recommend. So the two like biggest forms of leverage are tools and then education. And that's from Alex Hormozy, but just to give you an idea of what a tool can do. So if you're chopping wood for 8 hours with an axe, you get 8 hours of output. If you don't have an axe, you're screwed. If I give you a chainsaw, you get 80 hours of output for that same hours of input. If I give you a tractor, you get 800 hours of output for that same input. If you have 5 employees with tractors, you get 4,000 hours of output for a little bit more input. You gotta have 8 hours times 5, so 40 hours, but still freaking awesome, and you get way more output overall. Absolute numbers are much bigger. So we live in an age where you can have 8 hours of input that produces 800 hours of output, or you could have 1 hour of input equal 100 hours of output. And so basically you can work as much as you want, like time that you actually spend working, and you can get amazing results for that time that you spend as long as you're deploying it in smart ways. And so Life of Leverage is all about how to deploy that in smart ways. These are a bunch of questions you can use that determine if you're using leverage. These are metrics that matter a lot with leverage. And then these are a few stories that are really inspiring with leverage. So I'll just share one of them. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was a bodybuilder, but he early on built a successful mail order business and real estate company. He acted in some of the best Hollywood roles, and he was able to basically choose the roles that he wanted to act in because he wasn't desperate for money. He had abundance because he already had that mail order business and real estate company. And so he was very selective about the roles that he took. And that was why he was able to one of the reasons why he was able to succeed as an actor. Awesome stuff. Let's jump to the next one. Ghostwriting Intensive. This is now called Premium Ghostwriting Academy, but when this launched, it was called Ghostwriting Intensive with Dickie Bush and Nicholas Cole. This was the first time I ever bought anything from them. I've now bought several things from them because I had a great experience. So I'll just share one nugget from this. So here's what I'll give you. This was a nugget this was really interesting. So I learned a lot about CTAs. I do social content for a living. And so figuring out how to get people from social media to your landing page or to buy from you, that's a tough thing to do. But this is an absolute hack. So approximately, if I were to go to Twitter, let's jump to my account really quick. So we go to Twitter. You can see here in my bio, I've got some links. About 2% of total link clicks that I get are going to come from this. The rest of them are going to come from my feed, like from an auto plug in my feed. So let's see if I have an auto plug here. Okay, this is an auto plug. So see how this posted well, it got 27,000 views, and I automatically plugged this right here underneath it. And there's a software tool that does this for me, and 98% of link clicks will come from these because people are already on the feed. It's just right there. It's convenient. They don't have to go to your profile first. So this concept is extremely powerful. I do a lot less on Twitter now that I do on LinkedIn, but the same is true on LinkedIn. So I'll show you how it works on LinkedIn really quickly. So if I just open up my account right here. So you'll notice that I have this book an appointment right here in my bio. I also have these featured sections, which some people click on. But guess where the majority of the clicks come from? Right here. With every single post I do, there's just a book an appointment link, see, on every single post. And people can just click there. It's very similar to Twitter. It's like it's already in the feed, and that's where most of the people who come from content, they just book right there. So there's the little hack for you from the Ghostwriting Intensive. And this was like, I heard this from, honestly, I heard this from a different friend as well. And I think originally, but this was something that was cemented as I was thinking through CTAs in the Ghostwriting Intensive. Okay, next, consulting with Kieran Drew. So Kieran Drew is, let's pull him up. I'm showing you everybody. So Kieran Drew. There he is. He's got a nice website. He has 31,000 followers on LinkedIn. His biggest platform is X. He has 228,000 followers. He always shares in public how much money he makes, which is pretty fun to see. But he started as a writer, and he's done, I don't know, $1.5 million in digital product sales. He's all about doing the like one-to-many stuff. He doesn't sell a lot of one-on-one consulting anymore, or ghostwriting or anything of that nature. So I'll share one really interesting tidbit on some of our conversations. So I don't know how many sessions we did. We did quite a few. He told me about some great people to learn from, and like gave me some homework to go and help me make better decisions. This is the insight I'll share with you. So if you're playing the content game, you are competing with everybody. If you are a bookkeeping service, for example, then you are competing with all of the biggest names in the bookkeeping space. And if you are hyper niche, you only work with manufacturing companies, then that makes you unique, and manufacturing companies will be interested in working with you. But what about everybody else? Like, why would they work with you? And if you're just another run-of-the-mill bookkeeper, you don't have a unique perspective, it's like, good luck. And so what he suggested is doing less and making it way better, over-delivering. And so if you're creating, and he also introduced the idea of a blockbuster content to me, which is instead of spending 20 minutes on a post, spend 200 minutes on a post, make it the absolute best thing possible out there, so that it's like all of the returns come from the top 1% or 0.1%. If you create a top 0.1% piece of content or lead magnet or course or a service, whatever it may be, then that's going to get a overwhelming amount of attention because it's that much better than everything else out there. And so that was one of the great takeaways from working with him is like do less things, but do them 10 times better, and do fewer things and do them better. I think there's a time for more, and I've learned that as well, but there is a time for being the absolute best at creating one specific type of content, at like why should people work with you? Like, show what you're better at. Last, not least, doing time right with Steph Smith. So lots of interesting stuff in here too. I will just cover this one right here. So the productive actions are awesome. Everyone knows to do more of those. Destructive actions are terrible. Everyone knows not to do those. And everybody ignores the non-productive actions. They don't move you towards your goal. They don't move you away from your goal. But they're just like irrelevant things that you do. And it's probably where you spend 80% of your time. And like, it's the 80-20 rule. If you can find the 20% of activities that drive 80% of the results, then it makes sense to spend more than 20% of the time. Like, go from 20% to 60% of your time on those 80-20 activities. But most of us continue doing these 80% activities. And so that's the one like tidbit nugget that I'll share with you here is focus on the non-productive actions you're doing, because eliminating and replacing those with the productive ones is where a lot of the low-hanging fruit lies. That is a quick preview of that entire course. Like I said, I spent $14,000 to pay for these lessons. I learned more lessons than this, and I got it sometimes in a one-on-one format. And so I'm not expecting you to get $14,000 of value from this video, But in the 21 minutes or so that you've watched this, I hope that you've gotten a lot of value per minute. And yeah, again, if you want this, link in the description. Adios.